I've been playing the game R.E.P.O, a multiplayer horror game where you're tasked with going to a variety of abandoned places in search of valuables. Amongst these valuables is this very strange skeletal mount of a theropod dinosaur. Upon seeing the specimen, the tail being held upright and seemingly having the stiffened elongated tail rods told me that this skeleton is of a dromaeosaur, possibly Deinonychus or even Dromaeosauroides, as Dromaeosauroides is one of the first non-avian dinosaurs found in Denmark, the place I believe R.E.P.O to take place in due to the Denmark flag being present in Mechanic Station, and most of the locations being set in pine forests. Of course, the skeleton could have been imported from a different part of the world since the skeleton is found only in the Headman Manor, where you can find other exotic items such as ships and bottles, diamonds, jewelry displays, a glass rhinoceros in a glass box, and a very large harp. But what of the rest of the skeleton? This is where things start to get a little bit messy. First off, the skull is completely toothless and lacks the antorbital and temporal fenestrae. This is weird because with these features absent in the skull, this not only makes it not a dromaeosaur, but not a dinosaur at all. This skull looks closer in appearance to an anapsid, animals who have no skull openings near the temples. The legs are plantigrade in position, meaning its feet are flat on the ground like a human's or bear's feet. This is very uncommon for dinosaurs, with only therizinosaurs maybe dabbling in it, but completely unheard of in dromaeosaurs. The feet of the skeleton also possess only 2 toes, which is not a trait of any theropod dinosaur, except the ostrich. The skeleton also lacks a pectoral girdle and hip bones. The ribcage is very weird too and looks more like a horse's or cow's than it does any dinosaur's. So what does this tell me about the R.E.P.O dinosaur? The realistic answer is that it's likely just a generic skeleton the devs made, likely based on a dromaeosaur like Deinonychus. In universe though, the jumbled anatomy and parts of unrelated animals could point to the skeleton being a poorly mounted composite fossil. Composite fossils and restored fossils are very common in the fossil trade. Sellers will take parts of real dinosaur skeletons and fill them in with unrelated bones or casts. In this case, the real bones are probably the legs, tail, and maybe the neck vertebrae. The rib cage could be made up of ribs from a cow or wildebeest. The feet could be of an ostrich, and the skull looks to be a complete sculpt made by someone who is unfamiliar with dinosaur skulls. Even the position this dinosaur is posed in can tell us a lot of when this composite was put together. The tail being held straight up and the forelimbs being pronated with its wrists facing backwards is very characteristic of dromaeosaur reconstructions from the 1980s. It would make sense that this antiquated skeletal mount would be found only in Headman Manor, as a plethora of dated items could also be found there such as old radios, box televisions, dolls, and grandfather clocks. But what if it wasn't a known species of dinosaur, or a composite? Using the skeleton with minor tweaks in anatomy, what would this dinosaur look like, and what guesses can we make about what it was and how it lived? Assuming it was found in late Cretaceous Denmark, Rebosaurus probably lived in a coastal environment, eating anything that was smaller than itself and could swallow whole. It may have traversed the rocky tide pools using its long, stiff tail as a counterbalance while on uneven and slippery terrain, in search of small fish, crabs, mollusks, or plants. When not on the shores, it is possible it used its single-clawed hands to dig into rotted logs for wood-boring insect larvae. Being a coastal animal, it may have not been uncommon for a Rebosaurus to be swept out to sea, whether that be a consequence of one falling in, or being swept out by a storm. Its corpse would then drift to the bottom of the Tethys Sea where Denmark would later be. So that is my analysis of the dinosaur skeleton from R.E.P.O. I just thought it'd be a fun little exploration of something that probably wasn't given much thought. Thanks for watching and goodbye. God, it was pain to record. I had to redo that like 60 times.
What is this? I have a sword!
We fight each other!
Why am I on the ground?
I have a gun!
I have a duck!
I have a
Yeah!
tablet! No! No! I
Yeah!
have a gun!
No!
Bang, 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 bang!
No!
I win! a dinosaur. Why would anyone throw this away? Yeah.
Yeah,
Stupid.
that's so fun.